My name is Shawn Molloy. I am a director of clinical engineering for TriMedics. I oversee the University of Chicago, St. Anthony, Ingalls, and a couple hospitals you might know of out of Chicago. But I'm not really going to brag a lot about myself too much here, so you're not going to get a "this is who I am" slide. Okay. The one thing I want to share with you about who I am a tech leader. Okay. I grew up in the biomed field from being a biomed 1 all the way up to being a director where I am today. But as my wife likes to say, I'm also a busybody. Okay. I'm always looking for the next thing. I have 5 children. I have 6 rental properties, and I manage all that by myself. Last year, I completed my second bachelor's degree in hospital administration. And I did all that stuff with trying to master time management. Now, depending on who you are and what your objectives are is what this course is for. Okay, if you're a leader who's trying to get to that next level, if you're a technician who is trying to do more or get to that next level, why are you trying to time manage? Are you just trying to balance your work life? Or are you like me, stretching for that next level? I like to think that I do 120% and 80% of the time. Okay? I don't like doing 120% and 120% of the time. It just doesn't work for me. So hopefully what I'm going to be able to teach you today, if you can take 1 or 2 or 3 things from me, will make your life easier and help you get your day back, whatever that means to you. So productivity is never an accident, all right? It always is the result of commitment, excellence, intelligent planning, and focused effort. Success is no accident. If you think you're going to be on autopilot and find success, it's not going to happen, okay? Opportunity, if you're prepared for it, is never guaranteed. But if it's there and you're not prepared for it, then it's guaranteed you're not going to get it. So I have this little saying that I have with my leaders I call being part of the pride. Okay, as you can tell, I have purple shoes, I have a purple belt, and a purple shirt. You can only guess who I work for. I work for TriMedics. I make the Kool-Aid, I drink the Kool-Aid. I am the guy from high school who was Go-Go Pride. I'm the guy from my family who's Go-Go Pride. I am that guy, okay? I'm in it with my heart. I'm a veteran. I did 12 years in the Army. I love this because we are in a career field that is all about service. Service to our patients, service to our clients, service to our technicians. And we feel that service when we get that call at 2 o'clock in the morning, right? When we're staying late, when we're doing the extra work to get things done. So I always say be part of the pride, because one of my favorite things, you can't see it, but there's a little YouTube address on there for a little thing called lion mentality. It's the idea, what is it about the lion that makes it the king of the jungle? Is it the largest animal in the jungle? Nope. Is it the smartest? Nope. It is actually the characteristics of the lion. Okay, there's several, this is a great video, it's very motivational. I'm not gonna play it, we don't have time. But a lion has tenacity. Everything a lion goes after, it goes at 100%. Okay? Imagine going at everything in your life, not just work, everything in your life with the tenacity of a lion. Where would you be? Fearless courage, certainty, freedom, protective. The lion is protective of the pride. Just like our technicians, our managers, and our directors should be protective of their pride and protective of their business and protective of their team. And the one we're going to talk about today is competence. Time management is really a misnomer. The challenge is not managing your time, it's managing yourself. The key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. I love quotes. So let's talk about, we talked about competence and why that's important from a Lion standpoint, from leadership, from a technician, from a professional standpoint, is because if you want to be the best, you have to be able to provide the most value in the shortest amount of time. I don't care how late you're at the office if you're not getting the job done. I don't care how early you left the office if you're getting the job done. So it's not about how long you put in. It's not about staying after work. It's can you bring the utmost value in the shortest amount of time? So how many people have heard of the stone, rock, sand time management theory? Okay, I'm not going to insult your intelligence here, okay? It's the idea, we got stones, we got rocks, and we got sand. If you put the sand in first and then the stones, you're not going to have room for everything, okay? So let's look at how that may tie in to what we're looking at. So stones, who can give me an example of what a stone would be in your normal work period? We just became friends. What do you think? A stone, something big, it can't be rescheduled. It's something that has to happen. Something on your calendar.
Servers.
Server, like
medical
upgrades?
device servers.
Okay, okay. So we say large unmovable objects on your schedule. So if you have a server update that's got to occur, maybe it's got to happen during this amount of time because that's the hospital downtime. You're not going to do it over shift change. You're definitely not going to do it on Friday, right? So you have an unmovable piece of time. The choice here in time management is yes or no. Do I need to be here? My wife wants me to come to our daughter's piano recital. That's a stone. Do I have to be there? Oh yeah, okay. But can you delegate? Can I delegate? No, I can't delegate that. But if it's a project, if it's something else that I can delegate to a manager, and not always managing down, but sometimes managing up. Maybe it's something that I as a tech shouldn't be at, or I as a manager, but my director or my manager should be there. All right, so that's how you adjust your stones if you're stone heavy. And number two, look for a less time consuming. If it's your stone, don't make everything a stone. Sometimes stones are rocks. Nothing kills me more than a 1-hour meeting that it lasts for 15 minutes every time we have it. Okay, maybe we should look at that meeting and readjust. Rocks. Now there's two types of rocks. My transition was a little slow. Maybe. There we go. Someone else's rocks. So a couple questions you want to ask yourself. Do I bring value here? Right? We get a lot of rocks. We might have 3 rocks in a row. Sometimes we have to choose. And doesn't it always seem like clinical engineering is always talking at the very last part of the meeting when you're with IT, right? Do I provide value? Delegate. Can you delegate down or up? Respect the owner. If you're tenactic, like any other lion, you're like me and you have to watch yourself and not take over the meeting. Okay? Respect the owner, let them get through the meeting, because if you don't, you're actually wasting your own time. No context and be prepared. How many meetings appear on my calendar that have absolutely no context to it? It just has the team address, and a short description. I always say, hey, what's going on? What are we talking about here? Because I don't want to have a meeting to have another meeting. Okay, I want to have a meeting where we're all going to come prepared and we're all going to bring information. What is the point of this meeting? It's okay to ask that. And it's also okay to say, hey, you're not prepared for this meeting. Why don't we pull all this together? Then we'll have a meeting. Stay on topic And don't interrupt, which is another one I have to be careful of because of my tenacity. Okay? Your rocks, your meetings. Set proper time. We talked about it, 15 minutes. Okay? If it can be done quick, it's done quick. Don't do 30-minute meetings. Don't do hour meetings. Do 25-minute meetings. Do 50-minute meetings. You want to be well liked by your administrative staff? Give them bathroom breaks between their meetings. Okay, it's actually hospital policy some places not to do full meetings because those guys are in meetings one after the other, and they don't get any breaks. You can actually set your outlook instead of doing hour and half-hour intervals to do 25-minute and 50-minute intervals, and it'll do that for you automatically. I get a lot of compliments back saying, thank you for making that a 50-minute meeting and a 25. Don't start until all are present. Nothing's worse than having to regurgitate, okay? And when I say all, valuable VIPs, people who are supposed to be there you need to talk to. And if they don't show, reschedule. Don't make another meeting. Set proper time intervals, 15:45. Only choose necessary attendees. That is a big way to really lose focus from hospital staff, is if you invite everybody and they have no value there, they will stop attending your meetings, okay, when you need them. Maintain command and control. Just like you don't want a guy like me taking over your meeting, you don't want somebody else taking over your meeting, right? And so how do you do that? Well, you do that by, hey, I hear you, I agree with you, but that's a little off topic. We're gonna put that over here in the parking lot, and we'll come back to that. Now, you're not just shutting them up, okay? It's not just to appease them. If it's not on your calendar, it's not a priority. Time management isn't about managing your time, it's about managing your priorities. So right then, right at that moment, schedule it. I'm going to schedule 15 minutes with you to talk about this. Okay, they're gonna get that ping, they're gonna be satisfied, and you're gonna move on with your meeting. Own your rocks. Cancel your meetings if priorities change. If you don't need a meeting, like something happened, you resolved it over email, don't have a meeting. All right, guys, you know, this is great. So if you gotta cancel it, and there's nothing better than Christmas than a meeting being canceled, let me tell you, I love it when it happens. Verify technology in the room before you have a meeting. Certain things make me cringe, and nothing's more than, hey, we have any of you guys an IT guy? We got biomeds in here, right? Nothing looks worse for a technical service than having a technical problem in front of the entire administrative staff, okay? I came over here, I actually played with the lights, I wanted to make sure everything in here was functional, right? That little investment in time, and we'll talk about that, investment in time will save you time. Recap your results at the end, request deadlines. As you're going through, so, hey, so-and-so has an idea. Okay, you're gonna own that, right? That's an action, and we're expecting this deadline on this. Who owns the actions? When is the deadline? Move forward, okay? We teach our technicians, move forward. Move to the point to where you are at a natural pause. You've ordered the part, you've requested the PO, you're at a natural pause. And at the end of the meeting, I just want to do a real quick recap. You're going to do this, and you're going to get that back to me by this time. You're going to do this, you're going to get that back to me by this time. You're going to do this. Because what you're doing is creating a checklist, and once those things are nailed, that's going to align your next meeting. Okay, not necessarily, we'll get together next week and see where we are. Because I guarantee I could probably tell you where you'd be, right where you were that day. The meeting is over when it's over. What I mean, this is not a social event. My time is valuable. My time is valuable because I like to go home and have pile-ups on the couch with my kids at exactly 5 o'clock. Okay? And if I'm staying over and helping, it's for a reason. I'm okay with that. The meeting is over when it's over. Hey, anything else you guys want to talk about, or round table, just opening it up? No, get out of there. Okay? Hey, listen, if anything else you guys need, send me an email. Okay? Get out. And it's not just you, it's your meeting. You run your meeting effectively, those people will participate in your meetings. Sand. This is my favorite. What does sand naturally do? Carl? What's that?
Fill space.
Fill space, clumps together. Okay? Stays in my luggage for like 10 years. All right? Sand automatically clumps together. So what is sand? Group these into blocks of time. They occur periodically. Allow them to be tentative so that you can surround your meetings with secondary tasks. Utilize hacks, shortcuts, CI, and technology to improve your ability to work with sand. What I'm talking about is PO approvals. How many PO approvals do we get a day? Quite a few. Do we want to be approving, approving, and reviewing, and reviewing, approving, approving? No. Create a plan. That's sand. Say, I'm going to do PO approvals, whatever works for your program, between 8 and 8:15, 12 and 12:15, and 3 and 3:15. If you need an emergency, you call me. You don't email me, because an email is not an emergency. You call me. Do I worry when my wife sends me an email in the middle of the day? No. Do I worry when my wife calls me in the middle of the day? Oh, yeah, something's wrong, somebody's bleeding, okay? Phone calls are emergencies. Now, careful. Your leadership may not agree, but you can gradually set that expectation. Hey guys, listen, I understand you emailed me at 10 o'clock last night. I didn't respond. Next time, feel free to call me, because my phone's on, but I'm not sitting there watching my emails, okay? So, clump it together. This one's uncomfortable. Emails, and we'll talk about this in a little bit with email management. How many people check their emails constantly throughout the day? It's okay. I used to. Okay. The average professional checks their emails 400 times a day. That is 400 interruptions per day. I am a clean email guy. I have 50 emails sitting in my inbox right now. It's driving me crazy. Okay. I have set times for emails. Every 2 hours, I open my emails. I go through and do my email process to divide it and put it where it needs to be, and then I close it. And I don't look at it until 2 hours later. I have several things built to handle that for me. It's hard to believe that it'll work, but it's sand. It's really good as we advance and we become directors and vice presidents and we're traveling to be able to just look at our emails every 2 hours, because we can stop and look at our emails. I'll show you that. But there are several things you can do in your plan to group this sand together. Mixing the stones and rocks together allows everything to fit. Be specific with placing your stones, and sand always clusters together. Now here's something you probably haven't heard. I stole all this from Google. I'm the best Google researcher there is out there, okay? But this is a Molloy #1 classic stamped copyright. Water, the perception of time. The perception of time you can pour in and it'll fill your sand, it'll fill your jar, all the other space. Now perception, it's gonna be real hard to see, so I'll read it to you. There are different things that can affect your experience of time. Age, our age. When I'm 2, a minute seems like forever, and a year seems like an eternity, because it's half my age. When I'm 43, it's 1/43 of my age. So as you get older, your perception of time changes. School years seem to last forever. Now they seem to fly by. Health. If you're healthy, believe it or not, if you're healthy, time seems to last longer. When you're ill, it seems to go quicker. Emotions, awareness, attention, volume, fulfillment, density, complexity, enjoyment, and novelty. All of those affect your perception of time. How many people have gone to work and it's felt like the day just flew by? It's lunchtime. Jesus, I didn't do anything, right? But you did. Why? Why did you suddenly lose all that time? And there are sometimes you go to work, it's lunchtime and it's 9 a.m. Right? Now, why do I feel like I've done so much? Well, it's because it's how you work. You can actually change the way you work to change the way you feel about how you're working. Now, the perception of time doesn't give you more time. Nothing does. But it can change the way you feel about the time that has passed. Now, whether that is to enhance how you feel at work or to enhance how you feel at home, that is important. If you're going home, and I don't know, I don't watch a lot of TV, so like, was it like Jersey Shore? Is that what you guys are still watching? Okay, if you go home and you burn the Netflix fuel and you go right back to work, you're gonna feel like you had just stepped out the door, all right? But if you go home and you do things that are new, you do things that have experience, you're going to enhance your time perception when you're away. You can do the same thing with your lunches. I sit and eat my peanut butter and jelly sandwich and yada yada. Your break to help your stress is going to go like that. But if you actually take a walk, a different path, your lunch break is going to feel much longer and you're going to benefit from that. Okay? So, being aware of perception can help you enrich your time at work, and it can also enrich your free time. So here's where we get into the good stuff. I take on my calendar half an hour a day, 5 days a week, to do what's called self-reflection. I'm sure everybody's seen it, okay? For me, I'm not sitting on my desk humming. I'm actually doing research. I'm thinking, you know what, I did this today, and I think it wasn't the best use of my time. I wonder if there's a better way to do it. There's a lot of, how do you do this in Excel, right? So, and then I do that every single day. And next thing I know, I have thousands of hacks, thousands of ways of doing things better, and I've invested in a lot of time. So too much to do. Productivity isn't about being a workhorse, keeping busy, or burning the midnight oil. It's more about priorities, planning, and fiercely protecting your time. My time is very valuable. I'm more than happy to give it away because I know how valuable it is. But I fiercely protect my time. I have built the value in my time. Okay, and that's what I fiercely do. So calendar tips. Here's some calendar tips for you guys. If you're not using your calendar, you should, even as a technician. Okay, there's no excuse as a leader, but even as a technician, calendars are very useful. Okay, leaders, your own work calendar, if it is a mess, you're to blame. Okay, so here we go. First thing, and by the way, guys, these slides, you can't really see them great, but as you guys know, these will be recorded and dispensed later. My card is right there, so if you want to copy this or you have any questions about this, I'll send it to you. In Outlook, there's a setting to where when you first turn on your computer, when you first log into Outlook, the first thing you're going to see is your calendar, not your email. Because if you see your email, those are those 400 interruptions. First thing you're, oh, I'll just take care of this real quick. Oh, and next thing you know, I'm 5 minutes late or I'm behind on my calendar. Okay, so click, first thing up, calendar. All right, here's my plan. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. There's my rocks, my stones, all of that. I'm going to right click on my email and open up a separate window. So I've always got my calendar right here. Okay, so make that setting change. Make your calendar a priority. On your calendar, you can set multiple time zones. And what that does to the left, it creates 3 possible columns. I have mine set to Chicago because that's where I work, Indiana because that's where my headquarters is, and California because we have a lot of vendors out there. And that's always the one that I'm like, it's like 9, 8, midnight there. I don't know. Okay, so this allows you to see those time zones. Have you ever tried to set up a meeting with somebody from California? It's 6 o'clock my time, which is, you know, like tomorrow for you. Okay, so this allows you to do that very quickly. It's quick setting change on Outlook. Color code. Now, when we talked about stones, rocks, and sand, you can create multiple calendars. Okay, we have your main calendar, which all of your invites are coming from. Some of you may work for third parties. Well, you are blessed with the association of having both a hospital calendar and a company calendar, right? In the hospital, if you don't keep them synced, the hospital is going to look at your calendar and think you're available when everything else is going to another one. You can do a thing that's called overlay, okay? And what I do is if I get an invite on my UChicago account, I forward that automatically to my TriMedics account calendar. So it appears on both calendars, but you overlay, okay? And then you're going to create a third calendar. This is that plan that you make every week that gets shot to daylights when the day starts. I want to be doing this at, you know, when I said I'm doing emails at this time, I'm doing database work at this time, and it's tentative, okay? And what it does is you overlay your plan over those 2 calendars. Now you're in a meeting, IT, we're always the last ones. And yeah, they're talking about servers and networks. Let's see. My tentative plan is to be doing a little database work today. Just run some reports to the side until it's my turn, right? Or that, you know, like Christmas, that meeting gets canceled. Well, you know exactly what you're doing. You're jumping right into your plan, okay? So overlaying those, and also those are your triggers to check your email. Okay, make sure it's discipline. I tell you, you do it for the week, it's very, very effective, okay? Pulled it off. This will actually look at, let's see, assigning different colors in different tasks to what you're doing, okay? So what this does, it allows you to categorize your resources, okay? If I'm doing reporting time or contract time or so forth, I know I'm working in the database, that's red time, okay? If it's employee engagement, that's blue time, okay? Guess what? I also know what hat I have to put on for that. I am an introvert, believe it or not, okay? You know how you've got to reset yourself constantly and be ready, you know, have that really bad phone call and be able to reset yourself and handle the next counseling or the next phone. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? Right? This helps you understand your intensity and your resources that you're going to walk in for. Okay? And I want to stay on time here. Yep, we're doing good. All right. One thing I also wanted to point out, and this is another shortcut hack if you guys, I don't know if you guys know it up, but as you're going through your emails, let's say you come across an email that, you know what, I want to schedule a meeting for this, what's being talked about in this email. Does anybody know the shortcut to create that schedule? What you got? Oh, there's one better. I can actually, anybody else? If you grab the email, drag it over to your calendar icon and release it, it'll pop open the schedule for you. It'll also paste the body of the email into the scheduled event. So now you can actually schedule that. And then you can use, add the people in, use your scheduler to help you out. All right. A couple other quick tips. Copy and paste alike appointments. If it's not scheduled, it's not a priority. This is actually how I follow up on my managers. Their calendars are available to me. If I ask them to do something and I don't see it on their calendar, I already know they're not doing it, right? So, and I'm always, hey man, you know what? I haven't seen this on your calendar yet. You want me to set it up for you? And they know that's the, hey, I better get this on my calendar right away. No, I got it, right? Review the night before. I always review the next day, the night before in detail, because things could have been changed, right? On Fridays, things are a little looser, you're getting out. Then I look at the next week to get an idea. And I always try to make sure my plan is 2 weeks out, okay? Here's the thing. Monday, you'll catch up by the skin of your teeth. Tuesday, you'll fall a little behind. Wednesday, you'll get your butts kicked. Thursday, you'll get Thursday done and a little bit of Wednesday, and Friday, you'll be caught up. Okay? Don't expect to be on it every single day. You can't be granular like that. Okay? But you should set a limit. To me, all of my tasks have to be completed by Friday, or I'm scheduling time for me on the weekend. Sometimes sitting in the shade today, or someone is sitting in the shade today because somebody else planted a tree a while ago, right? So why is this quote important? Because we must make investments in our time. Okay, if you don't have time today, you're never just gonna find more time. There's no little secret treasure chest or something of time sitting around you haven't found. It takes effort. All right, what are you doing today to eliminate waste and make yourself more productive to create time for yourself? How are you investing? So that's what we're going to do. We talked about overlay calendars. So let's talk about technology. How can we master technology to help us with time? This is a lot what emails feel like, right? You open it up and everybody wants a piece of you, all right? So let's talk about emails. Emails do not require immediate response. Check during set periods of time and utilize technology. We've already talked about that, and it's your job to set the mentality. Don't be a jerk about it, but hey, do me a favor, that's not an emergency, call me. Minimize your folders. I see, like I look at some of my employees' folders, and they've got a folder for every little thing. I'm like, my God, how do you find anything? You have as many emails as you have folders. You can do the work with, and hey, this is my system. Feel free to Google and find the system that works for you. But I have very few folders. I have my inboxes. Like I said, I have my inbox, my hospital. Those are my favorites. They're at the top, right? I have an action folder. I have a follow-up folder, a video folder, an approval needed folder, a read folder, and a send item folder, and an archive folder. Now let's talk about these folders, okay? It's 8 o'clock, it's time for me to do my emails. I go in and look at my emails, and I'm going to know by that little number next to my inboxes how many emails I have to work through. Sometimes 80, whatever. It takes me about 10 minutes to get through 100 emails. Okay, now, What does that mean? Okay, that means I'm organizing my emails. So as I go through my emails, if it's something you can do in 5 minutes, do it. Okay, hey, what's the number to, what's this? If you can handle it, action done, no follow-up, finished, done. Do it. And then archive. Okay, if it's just something FYI, most of the emails we get are FYI, right? I'll look at the question. If I'm on the CC line, like, all right, glaze, done, right? Quick, gone. Advertisements and everything else, done, create filter, trash can next time, okay? Now, if you run across something that requires true action, something for you to do, it's going to take more than 5 minutes, you move it over to your action folder, okay? And what that's going to do is, if it's still unread, you can go and mark it as unread. That's going to put a little number right there next to your action folder. The more things you put in that action folder, the higher that number is going to go. So I'm going to go through, and then I might see, hey, I need to send an email to get a quote for a contract, right? And I'm not just going to send it and forget it, because they may not get back to me. I want to follow up on this in a week if they don't get back to me. So what I do is I send that email, I CC myself, and when I get it in my inbox, I throw it in my follow-up calendar. And that puts a little bink in my follow-up calendar. Okay? What I'm doing is I'm creating to-do lists right there in my folders. So I go through all of my emails, archiving what's done. I need to do an action. I'm throwing that up into my action. I want to follow up. I'm throwing that to my follow-up. I get through 100 emails in 10 minutes. Done. Guess what's after my email time? Operations time. Guess what operations is? Action. And I can look at that folder and say, hey, all right, open up this folder. Here's my to-do list. Okay. Now I sort my action folder. There's 2 ways you can do this. You can categorize your emails as urgent, not urgent, require action from somebody else, and it'll categorize that for you. Tried it, didn't like it. I actually just do it by time. When was it created? And I put it in reverse. So I'm looking at the oldest action to the newest action. And then I knock it out, archive it. If I need follow-up, I follow it up. Knock it out, archive it, knock it out, and I am at 0 emails. Now the other folders, approvals, I have a special filter built. If I get an approval, it goes to that folder, and then I have approval time to take care of that. So I don't even need to sort that myself, right? Read is actually, hey, this is a good email. It's something I want to read. It doesn't require an action from me, but I'd like to read it. I throw that in, that's bathroom time, right? Or when you're sitting at the DMV, or when you have time driving. No, don't do it when you're driving home, okay? That goes there. And then the video time is actually a personal thing for me, because when a lot of times when I communicate with my technicians, I do it via video. I record a video because all my technicians respectfully can't be at the same place at the same time. So I record a video, I send that video to them, and then they have the opportunity to watch that video when they have the time. So if I get communications from HR, from regulatory, or something I want to communicate to my technicians as a whole, it goes into that video. Then on my calendar, when I have video time, I open that up. Here's what I'm going to cover in my video, send it to archive when I'm done. Okay? All right. This is Quick Task. You can utilize Quick Task to do multiple options. Okay, it's, once again, Google this stuff. I'm not going to train you on it, but you can actually, hey, I need to forward this to my supervisor and my director or all of my staff. It's a 1-button click instead of multiple clicks, right? Investing in time. If I do it more than 2 times, use that investment time, that 30 minutes a day, to create a better way. And this is one of those ways. All right. The power of the hyperlink. Okay, this is a new one for me. If you've seen this course in the past, this hasn't been in there. We talk about interruptions, right? So natural stops. If I need an FSR, I'm in the database. I have to reach out to the vendor to get the FSR. It's not an instant response. I send the email, I leave the database. Hour later, I get the FSR. I got to go back in the database, find that work order, attach the FSR, right? What if, when you sent the email, you attached the hyperlink to the work order and you said, for my reference? So when you get the FSR back, you click the hyperlink, you're where you need to be, and you drop it right in the work order. That's seconds. But you add that up, and you're going to get back way more time. You're eliminating interruptions. Okay? You can also create hyperlinks to places on your computer, share drives. So if you need to, like, hey, I'm in a folder or a share drive where I want this information to go, this reference is for me. Most security isn't going to let them get into that reference, okay? And if you're worried about it, make it look like an icon and you can hyperlink it and they won't know what it is. Might get you fox hunted every once in a while, cybersecurity, but yeah. All right, use rules. Use rules. I get a lot of junk emails. Be careful with your rules because you can filter out stuff you want to have. But get to understand your rules. Believe it or not, the easiest way to make rules is right in the message you're trying to create the rule for. Because if you go to rules and create, it's going to pull the information from that email for you. And it's going to say, is it from this sender? Is it something in this subject that you want to filter out or make an automatic rule for? Okay, I get all the GE FSRs, those go to a folder, okay? And that folder is shared with all my ISC managers. And that happens instantaneously, but it looks like a lot of work, okay? So, this is dragging the emails. We already covered that. This is one of my favorites. This is one of my favorites. Number one, use signature blocks. Oh, that is one of my pet peeves. You know, MRI is not working. I'm very upset. Susan. Who is Susan? You know, and I'm thinking when I'm in the cafeteria, she's got a name tag that says Susan. I don't know if it's her or if it's, you know, an executive. Use signature blocks. It's just professional. People know who you are, right? But did you also know you can use signature blocks as templates? Okay, so develop multiple signature blocks. If you've got that same email that they send you all the time, hey, how do I know what if this is like, you know, the PM date is right, or this is a picture of a PM sticker, if it's after this, you know, create the template. A nice, beautiful message, well written with pictures, and then send it every time. Because in one click, it's going to look like you did a lot of work. Okay, and this becomes one of those emails you can do in less than 5 minutes. Okay, for example, one that's very useful for me is we're a big research hospital. Hey, how do I get my records, or how do I check on a piece of equipment? We have a portal they can go to, they register. So I put the portal address, I put in pictures on how to register. I created a YouTube video on how to do it and put the address in the actual email. So now every time they do that with me, they get this nice, beautiful email, and it looks like I did a lot of work. And I clicked once. Okay, so dispositions for leaders, you know, hey, you know, the ESU and OR3 is not working. Please contact the call center, you know, that just click, done. And it is a right click on your signature block. That'll bring up your list of signatures and you choose the proper one. Click, click, email done. and now you've increased the amount of emails you can do quickly. There's also a thing called quick parts, okay? Quick parts is a little icon to the top of Outlook. It's not like templating, but it's a good place to put pictures. Has anybody ever asked you, what's the label look like? What's this? And then you got to go find the label and copy and paste and put it over there. You can save all those pictures in quick parts and in one click, insert them into your message. Okay. You can also save contact like we talked about calling the call center, or what room number does this need to be delivered to? I actually have it built to where it's a picture of the room number and like a map on how to get there and the whole thing. You build it once, you invest in the time, you're saving time, and you're looking like you're on top of it, right? When you're just click, all right? And you spent 30 minutes of your day developing. Outlook notes. How many people, contacts are good, calendar's good, there's a couple other icons over there. Ever use Outlook Notes? Outlook Notes is good. Have iPhones? Do you know that Outlook Notes ties to your iNotes? If you update one, you update the other. Okay, so it'll be synchronized in between. And if you hit Control-Shift-N on your computer at any point, it'll bring up your notes. This is a quick way, if you're on a phone call, ever do that? Hey, yeah, let me give you the reference number. And Jesus, like I don't have anything. Control-Shift-N, beep, 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 beep. And guess what? Now it's on your Outlook, it's on your phone, it's everywhere you need it. Okay? Phone calls. I've looked like this guy. I'm sure many of us have. Spectralink here, cell phone here, right? Give your calls purpose. Plan your phone call time. So when I first moved into Chicago, I moved into an Oswego area. We call it a suburb of Naperville. And then I got a job at Rush University. I moved to LaGrange to be on the train because then I wasn't in traffic. And I could just ride the train and go figure I could work on the train. So when I got home, I didn't have to work, okay? Then I became the director of Chicago, and the train to the south side is a whole different train than the train to Rush, okay? So I'm stuck on 55. Like there is no solution, it's just traffic. That is my phone time, okay? Now, I wanna talk about water. Do you know what really seems like a long time? Sitting in traffic. But do you know what changes time perception when you're sitting in traffic? Making phone calls. So when I'm on my way to work, I'm on my way back, an hour and a half of time that I have no choice of, I make phone calls. That's my phone time. If I'm at work and I know I just need to do something on the phone, I'll make a note and I'm going to make that phone call. Now what I do is I do it in my Outlook notes. That way it goes to my iPhone notes, and that way the phone number is hyperlinked, so I'm not crashing into semis on 55, okay, to be safe. And if you guys really, this is a weird thing about me, but it's something I do. I keep dry erase markers in the side of my door, because when people sometimes tell me things on the phone and I have to take notes, I get it on my window. And nothing will get you a weird look from a trucker like writing your window, like a phone number, give you a call, you know. But I knew a lab director that used to do that. I just stuck with me. Consider signal strength. Oof, nothing's more frustrating as me being on the phone with you or you being on the phone with me and doesn't show professionalism than I'll call you back. Right? Once again, you're a technical guy. Why don't you know about your phone strength? Okay, so don't make phone calls when you know you're not in a good area. Stick to the point. I get it. Hey, we've got certain people in the hospital we have great relationships with, and we can that's more of a vendor thing for me when I'm networking up into the vendors, because I'm trying to develop that relationship. You can trust me, man. With our Clients stick to the point. We're technical people, okay? We're expertise. So be direct and get off the phone, because you don't want the persona that you talk too much, because they may not answer the phone next time, right? They want to know you're direct, you're done, you got it taken care of. Don't multitask when you're on the phone. Don't multitask. Nothing bothers me more, and before I decided not to multitask when I was on the phone, than saying, oh, what'd you say? It's just you and me. I was supposed to be listening and I wasn't, right? So don't multitask when you're on the phone, and it's going to help you out and not make that mistake. Oh, what'd you say? Yeah. Or you can lie. Oh, the signal got bad, but then it's not, you know. Not important. If it's not important, limit your duration. And it's not always you. Ever get the sales call? Be nice, okay? Be nice, but get it done with, right? I used to do this thing. People thought it was funny. Like, we had sales guys before COVID. Sales guys would just walk in the shop, right? And I'd be sitting at my desk, be talking to me, and I'd give all the signals that I needed to be doing something, and they would come in and sit down, and it wouldn't be past me to stand up and walk out and leave them sitting there, just to see, okay, I'll see you later. Okay. Now it's not such a big thing because they don't come in during COVID or after COVID. All right. Another tip that I'll give you for phone calls, and we'll see if it's on here. In your voicemail, how many people actually check their voicemails now? It's okay if you don't, because I mean, I do, right? But not a lot of people leave voicemails these days. Less than, we'll say less than they used to. What's that? Oh, I know. Yeah, well, they assume, and what's bad is if they're not a contact, you have no idea who called you, right? They're just assuming I'm an important person. You obviously know who I am. In my voicemail message, it says, hey, if this is not an emergency, please leave me an email at shawn.molloy@trimedics.com, right? I get a lot of emails instead of phone calls that way. They call once and now they find, because I'm always, you know, zero email box. I find that filters a lot of things through my emails, limits my phone calls, limits my interruptions. Browser tools. It was Abraham Lincoln who said the problem with quotes found on the internet is they are often not true. Okay. We're going to speed through here, guys, because we're at 1:59. So browser tools, plugins, as long as your cyber team is okay with it, are your friend. There's one that I love. It's called Link Clump. Link Clump. And you'll be able to see this on this thing. What it does is, if you hold down the Alt key and right click, ever been in your database and you've got a list of your asset tags and they're all hyperlinks, right? You can, it'll create a box over, we'll say 100 of those hyperlinks, and open each one in an individual browser with one click. If you're doing PO reviews or updating assets or so forth, it's a very powerful tool. Okay, so it allows you to open several hyperlinks in one click in several different browsers. But there's other things, macro recorders, takes a little time, that 30 minutes of self-improvement I'm talking about. If you've got something that is like click, 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 macro recorders can do that for you. You just got to learn the skill, okay? Shortcut keys. Now, we talked about, hey, I've got a list of work orders, right? Now I'm gonna link clump it and open up 50 browsers, but now I can use my shortcut Chrome keys to step through it quickly, like control page down. So I'm gonna put my mouse where it needs to be, and I'm gonna hit control page down. That's gonna step me over one tab. I'm going to click where I need to go. Then I'm going to step over another tab and click and step and click and step and click and step and click. And now I'm quickly making edits. And I'm not having to refresh the page and refresh the page and refresh the page every time. So learning your shortcut keys, control left, control right, how to open windows. If you hold down control and click a hyperlink, that opens it in another window. That little rolly button that's on your mouse, if you click with that instead of clicking with your mouse, it'll open it in another window, okay? Once again, different discoveries, 30 minutes a day to find. All right. Excel, Google it, okay? The one thing that I'll talk about is Control E. Does anybody here know what Control E does? Powerful tool. A lot of people don't know what it is. Okay? What? No. So on this list here, I've got first name, last name, and column, right? Now, what if the email is the first initial, the last name at trimedics.com? I can write that in the first row, highlight below it, hit Control E, and it will duplicate all of that utilizing the data from the two columns. If you want to do first initial, last four of a social security number and the social security number in there, Control E is an unbelievable, powerful function in Excel. And how many times do we export to Excel because it's easier to filter and work in there, right? What I did, and this is my tip for this, is I do a lot of Google. How do you do this? VLOOKUP, right? I created a document called the Excel Playground. It's for me. Whenever I look up something, I put it in there. I do a little tip, and I create an example of it. So instead of having to research again, I've got one place to go to remind myself how I did that. And I named it Excel Playground. Okay? All right. Almost there, guys. This is valuable. Who knows that you can do a multiple copy and paste? Okay, so if you copy something, Control C, where does it go? Clipboard, perfect, okay? Then you copy V, you paste it. You Control C, you wipe out what you just copied and you put something new there, right? No. Clipboard has a history. And if you go under settings and you go under clipboard settings, you can say turn on clipboard history. So you control, let's say you're looking at a contract. I'm going to copy the contact, the phone number, the email, the quote number, all of this at once. Then you go over to your submission form, and instead of hitting Control V, you hit Windows logo V. It will bring up your clipboard with everything you've copied and pasted, and you can select what you want to paste. So instead of going back and forth and back, you're just one spot. Now, it also works well as a history. If you're like, dude, I copied that URL earlier today, and it holds images, it holds everything. So you're like, that was like an hour ago. What was that? It'll be there. So turn this setting on. Okay, it's very, very useful. Waste management. It's all about eliminating waste, guys. And if you notice, there was a lot of investment to do some of these things. I had to research, I had to create, but the payoff to it has been great for me. I work extremely high volume. I'm able to get through roughly 300 emails a day. When I come back and I have 800 emails to get through, it's only an hour of my time. Okay? And you can choose. It's either to enhance your work life or enhance your private life. But there is no reason you should be struggling or giving up either one when all it takes is just a little bit of research. Okay? Appreciate your time.